Today's episode, we're going to talk about alternative sources of energy, and I'm going to do that with my guest, Johan van den Heuvel.
Thank you. I like to be here.
All right, let's get into the show. Stick around. Another Friday, another episode, and like I said, today we're gonna talk about alternative technologies. And my guest of today, Johan, he's kind of like an accountant of different sources of technologies that have developed all over the world for the last few years, and so we're gonna dive into that and see how close is the paradigm shift of alternative energy technologies? How close is it to today? Johan, thanks for being in the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've brought a couple of books with you. You've had I have a whole disc of information with me.
Yeah.
I got all kinds of links that you researched for this episode. So we got all of the ingredients here on the table to make it an interesting analysis of what is actually what is the status quo today. We've just talked about the lost century ever since the 1920s, when developments on free energy or zero point energy or energy extraction from the vacuum, however you want to call it. That technology it seems that it has stagnated in the past, and now a century later we're again at this point, and we're at the brink where multiple of these promising technologies are on the verge of breaking open to the public. And since you have a widespread interest in this field, I was hoping to just dive into it and just get a field of vision on what is out there and which are promising.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very interested in all kinds of technologies, especially in energy technologies. It's because, with energy you can live, you can eat, you can drive, and I found it strange that in the last 100 years there was no real development in there. There's only gas and fuel engines, and I found that strange. So I followed all kinds of science shows, followed all kinds of writers and books, and I found there's more going on. If you talk about Nikola Tesla, about his Wardenclyffe tower to transmit energy, and that was in the 1900s, or Stanley Meyer with his water car in the 70s, and many more people did develop all kinds of energy technologies, but somehow it stagnated. Even in government laboratories, they stopped or stagnated, or that funding got stopped. But if you dive deeper in that, you see that there was indeed real development. For example, a nitronol engine.
Sorry, a what?
A nitronol heat engine.
Okay.
A nitronol is I call it a memory metal. So when it's hot, it goes to its shape, and when it's cold, you can shape it. Now, if you make an engine of that, you turn it through a water bath. There's one is cold water, one is hot water, and if you put it in a certain way, it will start turning a wheel, and you have an engine basing on warmth and cold.
So it rotates basically on the basis of a temperature difference that is inherent in this kind of metal that you're talking about.
Yeah, memory metal is a well-known metal. It's a nickel titanium alloy. Yeah, and it's easily available I did share a film with you about the nitinol. There's an old film about nitinol and all kinds of developments on it, and explaining how in the government lab, I think MIT even, they had a running engine and even were amazed about the qualities. The engine didn't wear out.
So we got a film here. Can you tell me what we're going to look at?
Now, what you see is happening is that nitinol will go through its original shape, going in warm water, and gets weak in cold water. So what he's showing is that it bends in cold water, and when he puts it in hot water, it goes back to shape. But there's immense strength on it. Nitinol is very strong alloy. And because it's so strong, it can be used for an engine, and what will be shown shortly.
Right. That's very interesting. I never heard about this.
I've seen about memory metal in one of the inventions. No, in the uitzendingen. One of the broadcasts of Griet Titelaar, and he showed about the memory metal, and I think that was 90s. I think he showed it.
Right. Yeah, so for the people who don't know, who don't live in the Netherlands,
a science show. I saw it in a science show in the 90s, I think, and they showed the memory metal how it was used to cut ice.
Right.
Now, in this case, they use it as an engine.
Yeah.
So one part is warm water and one part is cold water.
Right.
And the hot part is heated by a solar, not a solar engine, but a boiler, solar boiler.
Right.
So the sun heats the water.
Okay, so there's no electronic equipment.
No electronics.
Right. And
maybe the water pump.
You can see, so now you put the rotor in the warm and the cold water, and it automatically, because of the differentiation between the temperatures, it automatically goes into a spin, and that could generate electricity without external input of power. And just by the qualities of the metal that it utilizes. Yeah.
So what's happening in the one part of the bottle, in the one bottle of the water, it will go to original shape, and over on it will weak, and then it keeps turning that way.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So the metal is pushing.
Yeah. What's the status of this technology? Do we know?
I don't know. I know there was a lot of talk about it, even about a heat engine, nitinol heat engine, which was professionally spoken about in the government, but also I think the military, the Navy, I think even.
Okay.
So there was very serious talks about it, but what the current results are, or what the current state is, I don't know.
Right.
But there should be documents around.
Okay. And what is this called?
Nitinol heat engine.
All right. So there's already one very promising technology that's out there.
That can be used today.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is one particular option, but there's so many more out there.
Yeah.
And so do you have another example that we can look into?
Now the water engine of Stanley Meyer.
Okay.
There are people that are reproducing that. Of course, you can break up water with electrolysis, but it's also possible to break it up with resonance. And that's what I think Stanley Meyer found out. I don't know the exact details of his invention, because he kept it very secret. But I got many documents and films about it. He had computers, he had all kinds of equipment to generate water. And the film that you see now is an example of somebody reproducing his engine in modern times. And with modern electronics, because Stanley Meyer used very old electronics that day.
Right.
And this is a more recent version. His car got impounded, and he lost the car.
He lost the car.
Yeah.
So this is somebody who dove into the world of Stanley Meyer, who thought like, hey, we got all kinds of new equipment and new modern materials available, and he just adapted his car.
Yeah.
And so his car runs on
water.
On water.
Water.
So he tanks water into the fuel.
Yeah. And what happens here, I assume, is that water gets converted in that engine part which you see now.
Right.
and then returns to water and then goes back to the water tank.
Right.
Or the excess water, what he's telling here.
Right. So the water molecules are being used, or
I don't know exactly. I don't know if this is an H2O or HSO engine or a water gas engine. I don't know. But of course, it doesn't tell.
Right.
But he uses the energy of water.
Right. Because what's the difference between HHO and water gas?
Now, by HSO, it will become hydrogen and oxygen.
Yes.
And that's what they call knalgas.
Yeah, it's very flammable,
Very flammable
explosive gas.
But water gas is different. Water gas is water that expands very fast and doesn't burn.
Right.
But you can mix it with other fuels to get more output from your fuels. So like
Right.
methanol. So if you combine it with methanol, if I'm correct, I know someone that can tell better, give more details about it.
Yeah.
It gets more, you get more fuel for your money.
Right, because it expands the surface on which the fuel burns, so you get like a more concise burning of the fuel.
And I can give an example. Sometimes you fire exercises where they demonstrate what happens when you put water on oil, burning oil.
Yeah.
And then you see the very big flame.
Yeah.
But nobody tells what's happening at that moment. Is it only oil burning or is it oil and water? What's happening there?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why people say if there's if water is burning, never extinguish it by putting more water on it, because it's probably oil on the water that's burning. And so the moment that you try to extinguish that, that's when the whole thing expands.
Yeah. And there's another interesting thing about oil itself, is that they say oil doesn't accept water. But the problem is, not the problem, oil is transported by water. So oil is I call it a hydrophilic fuel.
Yeah.
Hydrophilic element.
Right.
So it absorbs a lot of water. So if it's absorbed a lot of water, it don't accept any water anymore, so it will float on water.
Yeah.
But oil is a hydrophilic fuel.
Right.
So what you're burning in your car is oil and water. You're already doing that with your fuel.
Yeah. Yeah. Water is already coming out of the exhaust.
Diesel is I got oil gas. Diesel is an example of it. Is that if it's too cold, if it's freezing, your diesel gets frozen. And benzene doesn't get frozen because it contains less water. But diesel contains a lot of water.
Right.
So with a diesel car, you're burning water. Yeah. You already have a water car.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah.
So diesel cars are easier to convert to a hydrogen fuel car or a hydrogen oil car.
Yeah, but the problem of hydrogen, of course, is that hydrogen takes a lot of energy to convert from regular water, and that's where people say, well, that's where the bottleneck is at.
That's right? Official. That's the official science term. But there are many ways to break up water, and electrolysis is the most power consuming. But there are ways with resonance you can break up water.
Yeah.
So in that way, you only have to fuel water. You use a small device to break up the water, and then put it as extra fuel to your engine. So you can add it to an existing engine. But the problem with the current engines is because of all the computers and sensors in there, they are programmed not to accept extra fuel. They make it more difficult to run your car. So yeah, that's what one of the inventors found out in his test, Frank, out of Maastricht. At the TNO, he tested a car with water and hydrogen.
Yeah, so this is Frank, who's an inventor, who's a Dutch inventor who lives in Maastricht.
Yeah, he made water engine based on resonance. I think he made water engine based on methanol and water. He did also the tests at the TNO, and what he found out is that with the first test, the car ran 1,000 kilometers. But later on, after a while of driving, the kilometers run down. So it went less, around 600 kilometers. So somehow the programming of the computer of the car knew what was going on and started, I only have to drive 600 kilometers instead of 1,000.
Right, because the car was only counting the fuel usage instead of the miles.
I don't know. I don't know how it's programmed. I think Frank can tell more about it. But he's a real engineer that knows how that works.
Interesting. Can we see some of his work?
Yeah. I found an old movie of him.
All right. So of course there's an explanation in Dutch that we're seeing right now, but perhaps you can explain what we're seeing here. So this is of Frank's invention, right?
Yeah, there's Frank's invention of a water engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he explains in Dutch how it works. Later on in the movie, he will show a working engine.
Mm-hmm. Water you can split with electricity. Hydrogen and oxygen get bubbles when they get out of the water. That's when gas and water can burn. Gas of water can burn. More 100 times faster than fuel, than the petrol or fuel. If we add hydrogen to the engine, then the fuel burns better and it saves up to 40% of gasoline.
That's with old cars.
Not with modern cars.
Nope.
Okay, so that's a very good thing to know if you're thinking about selling your car and it's not bad yet.
No, because the computers of the modern cars are more complicated to change the programming.
Yeah, specialized.
They're very specialized, and yeah, cars are made not to run long. They are programmed to run enough.
Right.
So like electric cars can only drive 300 kilometers, and then benzene car can only drive 600, 700 kilometers, and then you're out.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we seeing here?
He's now building a system in the car here.
Yeah.
The hydrogen system he adds to the car. There are several ways to do that. You can through the inlet, the fuel, the oxygen, no, the air intake.
Yeah.
Or direct in the engine.
Right.
I don't know what they do here now because I'm not an engineer. But he will show you several ways to do it. And he had also a version with combined with methanol as fuel, and I think combined with water.
Okay. And what's the added benefit of adding methanol?
Methanol is very clean and cheap for you.
Right.
So, but yeah, Frank can tell more about it. I think also in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
And further on, he has a working engine with a direct converter.
Right.
They see that. I think that's direct with water gas. And he even blew up an engine because he didn't have enough safeties in there.
Oh.
So
well,
it's very dangerous if you don't put safeties in there.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Of course, with all of these technologies, we don't recommend that anybody is gonna just try something based upon these
background.
You have to really understand what you're doing, and this is serious technology. And
do your homework.
Yes. Yeah.
With any technology, do your homework first.
Don't DIY based upon a YouTube.
No. There's a lot of fake videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
You have to do your background, the background checks. You have to do your homework. Understand the technology. Also do theoretical knowledge, because it does involve mathematics.
Right.
So yeah, you have to go through as you can see, Frank uses all kinds of equipment to measure, to test, to try. So it doesn't just do it.
Yeah.
And he is doing tests. How clean is the exhaust?
Yeah. Which is of course very important if we want to live in a world that is less polluted.
Now, if you work with water gas, you get more cleaner exhaust because it gets better burned.
More cleaner? That doesn't. I'm not hearing you say absolutely clean. So there's still maybe some.
I don't know.
Some residue. Let's see. Let's see what he tests. So he puts a napkin in.
So this with normal with dirt, and then so you get more cleaner exhaust with adding hydrogen to the fuel.
Right. Yeah. Let's continue to the next one.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
Geet, I think.
Geet, yeah.
From Paul Patton.
Yeah, very interesting backstory. Geet. It's an abbreviation, I think.
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
I don't know anymore in my head.
You got a cheat sheet right here.
Energy technology. At the end, I know. I think global. something energy technology. No, the GEAT engine is very interesting. Also uses water.
Yeah.
And it also combined with other fuels. And the other fuel can be anything. And what happens?
Anything.
Yeah, anything. And what happens is that the fuel inside the GEAT part, the plasma part, gets converted or gets broken up in very small particles, which makes it very efficient fuel at that moment. But it's very, very difficult to make that part.
Right.
So the GEAT engine looks simple,
Yeah.
but there is some parts are difficult to make. But I saw films, videos, and from Paul Breton itself that they had working prototypes.
Right.
And I know there's still people working with GEAT prototypes or GEAT tests with working engines. So they show that when the GEAT engine is on, there's no exhaust or the oxygen out of the engine instead of hydrogen and instead of I call it dirt and that sort of stuff. And when the GEAT is on, it gets very clean output.
And so it doesn't matter what you put in as a fuel. So it could be
anything.
like my soapy dishwater from.
Yeah, I think so too. They showed everything as a different fuel.
What about radioactive stuff?
I don't know what happens with that. I didn't see tests about that.
Right. Right. I'm just curious.
I don't know. Of course, the energy gets converted inside of the engine part, and it can be made with normal tubing, but iron tubing or steel pipes.
Okay.
It has to be steel pipes because copper is not hot. Copper gets hot to get bending, so you have to use steel pipes for the heat.
Right, and so then obviously you get into the part where it cannot be anything corrosive or anything.
I don't know. I know the metal pan has to be iron. That's the part that the GEAT needs to convert the fuel to plasma.
Yeah.
That's the only part I know that has to be iron. But there are complete building materials and kits and also diagrams how to make it and which materials to use.
Is that open source? Are the plans shared?
Yeah, I got a book here in the book. Here you can find any details. It's from a Dutch writer, but there are also English materials about it, and even YouTube films. All kinds of materials available to how to build a GEAT engine.
Yeah, I know. Particularly in the Netherlands, there's been some people because the original inventor comes from the States, I think.
Paul Breton States, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a teacher in a school. I think, if I'm correct.
Well, I don't know what he all did. I don't know what his background is.
Well, don't pin me down on it, but I believe that's what but he saw that this project was too big for him alone as a person.
Yeah.
So he made all kinds of connections all over the world, and he got into contact with some Dutch people as well, and a part of the GEAT has been developed in the Netherlands as well further on.
Yeah, there's all over the world there are projects or teachings about the GEAT.
Right.
And a GEAT itself is not the engine, but you add it to an engine. It converts the fuel.
Okay.
So you have to connect it to a real engine. And depending on the size of the engine, you have to size the GEAT part.
And what does it convert the fuel to?
To, I think, a more efficient fuel.
Right, but what are the components of that more efficient fuel? What is the...
Now, as I said, water and a different fuel you can use.
Okay, so it converts any kind of liquid,
including, but has to include water.
Right. Any kind of liquid that has a component of water, it converts it into a more.
What I saw in the documents and the films is that the water tank is separate, and the other fuel parts also separate. So they are separate parts. So,
okay.
But you can use any part to add to the water part.
I see.
And there are separate tanks.
Okay. And what is the component that is difficult to make?
That's the part that converts the fuel to plasma. It has to go. You have to put two pipes inside each other, and in the middle pipe there's an iron pen. And it has to also be magnetized, the pen.
Right.
And so it has to be oriented the right way.
Right.
And that's the difficult part.
So does it create like a toroidal field?
I don't know.
Okay.
It has to do with magnetic fields. So I don't know.
Yeah, so usually when a magnetic field is involved, it's when you get like a circular toroidal field.
Yeah, I think
which is,
because I know people tried and then failed to make a gauge engine. So maybe other things are involved, like other EMF fields or something like that, or radiation. I don't know. So yeah, some people get it working, some don't.
Okay, okay.
But it has to do with that last part, the metal pen inside. That's the key part that you have to know how to make that.
Right. And also has to be like a specific length, right?
Yeah, it has to be specific length, weight, but depending on the size of the gauge engine you want to make.
Yeah.
So that's the difficult part of the whole engine. But for the rest, it's very simple to build.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing with the specific length and the toroidal qualities of it, that also always makes me interested in particular scales of geometric alignment and all of that.
The person that I see built it, they use also dowsing to check on the materials,
Okay,
see if it's correct.
okay,
So they use some kinds of consciousness to building it.
okay. And what kind of materials are we talking? Like copper or specific?
Now all the parts, they check the whole engine with dowsing.
Okay. Can we see some of it? Maybe some from the book? Do we have some?
It's a good one. It's all in Dutch. Now you can see it's a very simple setup.
Yeah, hold it up to the camera.
Very simple setup.
Yeah,
Nothing difficult.
yeah.
And there are even building plans in here. It's from Robert Boerman. Let's see. Yeah, I got. Now here, you got a simple engine. That's also important. A simple engine.
Yeah. Let's get some light on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so the whole big building plan. Kijk hoor. Let's see here. A whole menu how to build it from start to finish. And it's all metal parts. It tells also what type of metal you have to use and how to build it, and yeah, what the requirements are. Oh, here's the part with the metal pen.
Right.
So that's the most important part.
Right. Yeah. And so this book, is it like a schematic?
Yeah,
or how
it is a story and schematic,
Okay.
and it contains all the information that you need to build one.
Okay. And this is a book by Robert
Boerman.
Boerman.
So this is a Dutch book, but there's a lot of English material also available.
Yeah. 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 And it's basically it's an open source technology. It's a technology because most of these technologies go wrong. It's when people, inventors,
Protected.
yeah, they have a feeling, wow, I really invented something that is good for the world and it's gonna do well and improve life all over the world. And the first thing they do is they step into a pattern office and they say, these are my plans. These are the things that I want to protect.
Yeah.
They go and get a patent, and then what happens?
Now, in most cases, their inventions get money offered from. There's even during the patent procedure, they get money offered, or they get
Bought out.
blackmailed, or in the worst case, killed.
Yeah, yeah,
And the inventions get lost.
yeah,
And that's happened a lot.
yeah,
Nikola Tesla with the Wardenclyffe Tower, Stanley Meyer with his water engine. Moray, I can tell there's several people that got killed, and even today there's modern inventors who go commercial or go to patent office. They are in trouble.
yeah. Yeah. So we have over a century of lost inventions who of all kinds of bright people who stumbled across these kind of technologies that are based on specific resonance or harmonies or particular metals or particular ideas, and all of them they get lost into the void.
Now the beautiful thing of it now is that there are getting more and more inventors. Of course, it started with Nikola Tesla, Murray, and all the other inventors. But they're getting more. People see them and think, oh, maybe I can build it. And then they tell their colleagues. And then people start small groups or start conferences. There was a conference in, I think in May this year, in Stuttgart, where there was about all kinds of free energy devices there. Some were good, some were bad. But it was interesting to see that many people had interest in there and wanted to work on there. So also engineers, there's engineers, real inventors. Yeah, so a lot of interest in solving the energy problem.
Yeah. So more and more engineers are dropping the idea of
Patenting.
Sorry?
They drop the part of patenting or going commercial.
Yeah. But also they drop the idea that the thing that's always presented as a law, like there's no external energy can be created more than you are already putting in. What's that law? I think it's thermodynamics.
Yeah.
So that's a complete disregard for any resonating or harmonic principles. That eventually will get a turbine going just based on the conditions where it's placed in. And more engineers are seeing that, I think.
Yeah, and also if you go into that, is that all kinds of, we all go out from the original classical physics, yeah, but then you come to, but then you have also quantum physics. So they have some problems mixing with each other. Of course, some phenomenon coming from classic physics cannot be, from quantum physics cannot be explained in classical physics. So, so they're where they bounce. But more and more inventions are made from quantum physics, and they're already using today. With photons, single, I call it, that two atoms are connected to each other. Connection with each other. I don't know the exact word for it anymore. Synchronity? No, that's not synchronity. No, they intertwined with each other.
Anyway,
come to that later.
But what we can definitely say is that quantum physics is still severely misunderstood.
Yeah.
And we don't really understand the dynamics that are underlying, and we don't really know how to utilize them by the normal quantum theory that is now at hand with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you dive into some of the work of, for instance, Nassim Haramein. And of course, this wouldn't be a regular Paradigm Shift episode if we wouldn't have our sponsor of this episode. I'm very happy to work together with all of these fantastic products. They're all CBD related products, and they're all tested and checked in a laboratory. Very high quality. This is not the regular off the shelf stuff that you will find in your local grocery store or any kind of other store that you would have. This is top premium quality CBD oil. So if you don't have any CBD oil anywhere in your medicine cabinet yet, go and order some. Use the code Paradigm Shift and get a 5% discount. You could use this in any other kind of illnesses that you might have. So, for instance, if you have any menstrual cramps, if you're a female, on any other day of the month, or if you have any arthritis, if you're an elderly person, you have some chronic pains in your joints or whatever, you might want to use CBD oil. If you have any problems sleeping, you have any issues that are regarding all of that, then use CBD oil. At least give it a try. It's a good deal with this discount, and at the same time you're helping out the show because we get a little percentage of everything that we sell, and so by that we're doing a thing that it's a knife that cuts on three sides. You're helping out the show, you're helping out yourself get healthy, and you're helping a wholesaler sell a fantastic product that really needs to go out there. So go to organicacbd.com and order some bottles for yourself and use the code Paradigm Shift. And with that, let's continue back to our interview. Another invention that I wanted to talk to you about is the thunderstorm generator by Malcolm Bandel. I know that this is not a particular expertise of yours, but do you know any of his inventions?
I think that's the engine where I think Bob Grenier is researching, or his team anyway, and there are interesting things going on there. So that you can create clean energy with that, but it also transforms matter.
Yeah, so it's also based on plasmoid technology.
Yeah.
So so similar to the GEAT, what it does is it has like a metal sphere connected to the engine.
Yeah.
And what it does within the sphere is it creates a ball lightning. And the ball lightning makes sure that plasma is being generated. And once that, I could be missing a couple of steps here, but for anyone in the comments who knows better, please leave your comments down below. But at least what the end result is that the engine, while it starts up on fossil fuels, at some moment where it turns on the thunderstorm generator, that's when the energy usage is minimalized severely. So it only uses, I think, 1/10 of the energy, and the exhaust fumes are pure oxygen.
Yeah.
And water.
Yeah, it's converted to the basic elements, what I understood. So I don't know the theoretical details about it and the engine details, but I know it's a very amazing technology that can be used, and it also can be used as an engine, so to propel objects.
Yeah.
So instead of like for an airplane, or a rocket anyway, it will be more efficient. So it's very interesting that way.
You can have a thunderstorm airplane.
Yeah, the real one.
Yeah. So is this similar to the GEAT, where with the exhaust fumes, or
don't think so, but it is plasma, so I don't know. That I have to ask Bob about that, if they are compared to each other. But I think Bob Grenier is more involved in all kinds of diesel projects and knows a lot more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also what's good about the thunderstorm generator, which the thing is that I'm really excited about, is that it's all open source.
Yeah.
It's all shared online.
Yeah.
And so there's people building these things in their garage now. There's people trying to figure out, look, okay, how can I convert my vehicle? So if anybody is out there, and I'm talking to you guys right now, or I should take this camera. If anybody is out there and and you're building a thunderstorm generator in your car or anything like that, hit me up as a contact, because I want to volunteer my car and see if we can get a better car driving. And if we manage, we will publish it all on this channel.
On the note of an open source sharing of technology and also results, is that there's a project going on that is called Evo Labs, and that helps sure that the inventions don't get lost. Dus the inventions don't get lost, the technology doesn't get lost, and also has a financing part for inventors, so that they can buy the measuring equipment or the equipment to build equipment. So yeah, there are projects going on to keep the technology running and keep it open source.
Right. So it's almost like an umbrella.
Yeah. From governments.
Protection from any kind of inventors who. So that would also mean that for people who are inventing something and who are
or want to contribute different ways, so with their knowledge a different way. So it doesn't have to be an inventor, but if you're very good in techniques or other ways you want to get involved, you can get involved.
Yeah. So connect up with
Evo Labs.
With Evo Labs, and make sure that your ideas are protected, but also your body is protected. Yourself is
No, it
protected.
doesn't protect your body, but if something happens with you, your invention don't get lost or your knowledge doesn't get lost.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't have a police organization around it.
No, of course not. But people might be hesitant to publish their work just because of that factor.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I wonder if there's inventors out there who have developed something and that they're only using it for themselves. They're not sharing it with the world because they know what might happen to them once they will share it.
I think those inventors do still exist, and I understand them. Of course, yeah, bad things happen to some. So, but yeah, problem is if you keep it to yourself and you do get a problem or you get, not to survive, yeah, then your invention is lost.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is how to weigh that part.
Yeah. Yeah. The world is yearning for it. Help me stop paying these bills. It's December and it's freaking cold here, and I'm still heating this house with gas. But also for people who live in a desert. If you're living in a desert and all you have surrounding you is an ocean with salty water, a desalinator would be that is needed to greenify a desert, to get enough water to greenify a desert. But for a desalinator you need a lot of energy, and just to give an understanding of how free energy that is not polluting, how it could really change the world.
Yeah, true.
Do you have any other examples that we want to show?
I think it can be hundreds of examples. I think these are the most promising. There are more interesting inventions going on, but I think these are the basic ones.
Right. Are there any inventions that the public can be involved in? For instance, I know with the thunderstorm generator that people are people can contribute by making something or be involved with the organization or somewhat. Are there other startups or anything that you're excited about where you think like, well, people should really know about this in the public, so they can get a little bit of uplift on this kind of technology on the development side of it?
I know there are several energy groups going around all over the world, so I don't know them all. I only know a few. I know EVO Labs is the most public one, and Bob Greenyer I know, but other groups I don't know. I know that what I do know is that they're all over the world, Russia, England, US, and the nice thing about those inventors that they get more aware of the risks or not to get involved with other people. There was a Japanese inventor, and he got someone from USA wanted to work with him, and he didn't trust it and didn't go with him, and he trusted different people with that, and it lived at that moment, but there's a different problem with him going on, because he invented a cold fusion engine, a generator engine.
So for the people who don't know, can you explain a little bit what cold fusion is as opposed to all the other technologies that we just spoke about?
Yeah, the cold fusion is the correct term is low energy nuclear reaction, and the problem with that is that still comes radiation from it, but it's different than from a normal nuclear radiation. So inventors that did go in that, died of cancer and that sort of stuff. So that's a very serious technology, but it has potential if you use the right protections and the right procedures. For example, ECAT from Andrea Rossi made a working engine and did a public demonstration, I think in Italy, Yeah, I think in Italy, with one electric car without an ECAT and one electric car with ECAT, and the one with ECAT had lower battery volume before he started. A battery, I call it size or battery charge,
Right.
and at the end of the run, the battery got charged, and even run longer than the car without the ECAT. That was a public demonstration.
Do we have video of this? All right. So what are we seeing here?
Now here's the public demo of the ECAT.
All right.
First I checked one car without the ECAT, and they weigh it and also check the battery charge. That's what they're showing here. The electric cars are Twizzys, and here you see the details.
Mm-hmm.
This is the battery level, and here's the battery level of the one with the ECAT. You also see the weight. I think he showed the weight too. And now they're going to race with each other, or against each other.
This is normal speed.
Normal speed.
This is the
Yeah.
the speed that the ECAT goes.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get sound on this. Oh, we get a music.
Yeah, they miss. Yeah, because there's nothing interesting about it. They also sometimes they show the measurements too. So
Right.
so there's a public demo of the ECAT, and it goes for hours. I think this is a short version.
Yeah.
But they have also the long version that you can see the whole drive.
Yeah. I wanted to hear the sound. Like, what kind of noise does it make? But
It's an electric car.
It's an electric motor.
And the
so,
ECAT doesn't make noise. It's generates power.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
And they show at the end what the charge is, and the battery charge of the ECAT is higher at the end. I think they show.
It's higher after it drove.
As you see, no, the one without ECAT is run out.
So the battery charges while it's driving.
Yeah, because it comes more power in than goes out.
So how does that work?
Now that's the cold fusion engine.
But there's radiation problems with it.
Now he solved that problem.
Ah, okay.
So
So the one that they're towing right now, that's out of energy, or that's the
that's the one without the ECAT.
okay.
And the one that's still driving, that's and they stopped at the end because you can keep driving, but
Of course, yeah. If
but it showed enough.
constantly-
See, they say it's 5 o'clock, still driving,
yeah,
and then they stop because you can keep driving and driving, but it shows already the example.
yeah.
And and at the end they show that the battery charge is higher. And this one had a very small ECAT,
Yeah.
but they also make ECAT for industries.
Yeah, but the problem I have with making stuff for industries is that it doesn't help me. It helps the industry.
You can pre-order it, but I know people that pre-ordered it, but they still didn't have it. So
Right.
that the thing is that will it really come out, or will you get in problems like financial or something else?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's out.
Yeah, it's the thing that I'm worrying about with these kind of technologies is the same thing that we see with all of the renewable fuels that we see nowadays. So the Netherlands is a very windy place, and so what our government has decided is that we get windmills everywhere.
Yeah.
And then what happens with all of the windmills is that all of the energy it all gets collected in one particular area, and while they sell it as it's a benefit for the people who live in that area because they will get a power supply by it. What ends up happening instead is that there's a local center for Google. A server
Data center, yeah.
data center, and that's where most of all the energy gets consumed. And so that's also one thing that I worry about with these new technologies, with these free technologies, where or not free technologies, but technologies with free energy, is that a lot of energy can get generated often by a lot of big inventions. So, I mean, I know that the thunderstorm generator, they can thrive massive generators, But then the question, of course, is who owns that generator, and where does all the energy go to?
No, what I understood is that anyone can buy an ECAT. So yeah, so you can go to the website and order it. But yeah, I hope it will go through. But the nice thing is it is not something that he invented, or the ECAT is not the part of the ECAT, the cold fusion engine, is not something new. It is not owned by someone, that idea. So there are more people working on it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he's not the only one.
And so what's stopping us from having it all right now already?
Now, yeah, as I said, proper shielding. Now, Andrea had got that part solved, but the others not yet. But they have assumptions from what the predictions are. I don't know the details about that. I only have, I only have ideas about it. But yeah, they are very far in, like, that anyone can build it. But as I said, it's a dangerous technology, so you have to know what you do.
Yeah, so not everybody can build it in that sense, that it's a dangerous technology to mess around with. Yeah.
It produces radiation that you have to protect against.
Yeah.
So it's not something for the weak-minded.
Right. Does it have nuclear waste?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Okay.
That's of course it's as I said, it's called fusion. It generates only energy.
Yeah. Have you heard about this battery that they supposedly developed that is made from nuclear waste?
Yeah, with diamonds, you mean, or that they? I've seen it, but I didn't go in deep into that. But I know I think it had to do something with diamonds to use to generate electricity, I think, but I don't know much about that.
I'm not sure. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're correct. Scientists built a radioactive diamond battery that could last longer than human civilization. So, battery like no other.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The mainstream technology will go out, say, hey, we have a big invention here, or we found it, like the fusion engine they made. They had a hot fusion engine generator where they use lasers to create fusion. I say, gee, we get fusion here, so we get power out of there. But people forget those lasers uses power too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So use a lot of power to generate the fusion.
Yeah. So you have more input than output.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is happening with radiation there? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's also the same thing with hydrogen, of course, right? There's people, there's car companies who have been developing a hydrogen car for many years, but it's always the promise that never gets delivered. Is always it's always the technology in the horizon. But the horizon, they keep moving the horizon.
Yeah, and the thing is with hydrogen is that big oil companies go into there and try to hijack the whole hydrogen issue. They go and use the pipes in Amsterdam for hydrogen. But hydrogen is in large volumes very dangerous. And a Navy Navy explosions expert warned about it, because don't store so much hydrogen in one place. Yeah. So let's say those pipelines being used, the gas pipelines used for hydrogen. Yeah. Hydrogen is a smaller molecule, or hydrogen gas is a smaller molecule, so it's more dangerous. And you don't know how it reacts with other stuff.
It's very flammable, it's very explosive, it's very...
It's flammable combined with oxygen. So when it goes exposed to oxygen and you have also another fuel, then it's very dangerous. So that's how the Hindenburg got burned, because it had a flammable outside on it. The other Zeppelins they used in the war didn't have a flammable outside, and they tried to burn them, shoot them down. And they had to use special fire bullets to burn them, to get them to the ground. Yeah. Because it's very interesting times there.
Yeah. Well, at least they weren't afraid to experiment with new technologies.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I've heard of people using hydrogen in sustainable local setups. So, for instance, when people have in Norway or Sweden, when they have a lot of sun in the summer, they have a lot of excess energy. And in winter, when they don't have a lot of sun, they don't have enough energy. And so often what they do is when they have an excess of energy, they try to produce hydrogen by making hydrogen from water and then storing that and then using that as a fuel in winter when you have less energy. And yeah, of course, it's a huge loss of energy because you never get the amount of energy back that you're using to make it.
Yeah.
But at least for mediating your energy consumption, it can be a little bit of a counterbalance. But people often forget that is very dangerous gas that you're working with.
Yeah.
Very.
That's why the thing is, when you use it in a car, you convert directly from water, and then small amounts of hydrogen and oxygen. At the moment, that's more safer. So the transport of water is no problem.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, so what you would recommend is a direct usage after conversion and not storing it when talking about hydrogen.
Yeah, and there are examples that you just you use normal water from the sink and use that water for hydrogen conversion.
Yeah.
So, and there are, in the past there are plenty of examples. Now, yeah, Stanley Meyer I can call, but there are plenty others that tested with water too.
Yeah. All right. What else we have? We have so much interesting stuff. You brought so many things.
Yeah, now one of inspirations is Karsten van Oostdonk. He also does English, or he did English. I call presentations about all kinds of energies.
Yeah.
And also the many inventors. He has about Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. I see a stylized Taurus on the foreground. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also says energy is the solution. Yeah, no, he got all kinds of inventors in here.
Yeah.
And also the explanation about what free energy is. So, and this is just a short book, but there are also books that are much bigger, which go through any inventor, any inventions. And there are many more than Nikola Tesla, many more. Yeah. And I saw just a German broadcast about inventors, and they showed in a scale van, nou, first you have Nikola Tesla, or maybe you have a few before Nikola Tesla, like Murray, and they show, now, then was a few inventors, then you got more and more and more, and now at this time I think there are hundreds and maybe thousands of inventors. Yeah. And in any country, you have, I saw a water car in India, I saw a video of a water car in Japan, I saw several inventors working with water as fuel. Yeah. So I think water is the key in energy anyway, in most cases. Yeah.
Well, at the least it's what runs us.
Yeah. Now, if you see us as energy, a human cell contains 100 millivolts at optimum capacity. Yeah. Now, count your cells. You're a walking nuclear reactor.
Yeah. 70% water. Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. The only problem is often we don't know how to utilize that energy that's all inside of us.
Or some do how to begin to utilize it.
Yeah. The name Morey has been named a couple of times. We haven't really talked about him yet.
One of the inventors of free energy, he made an invention containing tubes, dus what you call the radio tubes, and he made a special one that I think could something do more. And with that he could generate electricity but out of the ether. Dus without any other thing involvement. And he showed it also, and I also found an affidavit of one of the visitors. I call it as an. I call it an. That he watched it working and without any extra equipment around it.
Right. So, and when did he live?
1900s, I think, too. A long time ago.
Yeah.
Before Tesla.
Right.
And I know that Tesla and Moray have also worked together on free energy devices.
Right.
And on that note, Nikola Tesla made a car running on free energy, the Arrow.
Right.
The car is lost.
Yeah, of course.
But what I understood is that it contains several inventions there containing free energy, and also some of ideas of Moray.
Yeah.
And so he was not the only one. You have many inventors. People think there are only a few inventors. Most people only know Nikola Tesla, but there were many more. And they made, and even if they know Nikola Tesla, they don't know what he all did. He did so many inventions. Amazing what he did already. And yeah, so it goes for other inventors too. They did more than just that one invention that got publicized. They did many more.
It's an interesting time in which we live, and I'm very curious to see which technology breaks through the barrier first. Which one will be the one that all of a sudden locally people will generate power outside of the possibilities that are that the boundaries that are given to us normally, the boundaries in which we maintain this civilization. Once those boundaries get broken, once those parameters are the goalposts are set, that's when we will start to see a flourishing of human behavior if it really goes to the people, because I think that is really key. If once it goes to the people at the top of the pyramid, that's when we're in big trouble. But once it goes down to the people, that's when the technology can be democratized. And
I'm for that. Yeah.
Sorry?
So I'm for that. The democratized technologies, not to the few.
I mean, there's so much possibilities. There's so many things. I mean, in the Netherlands, the energy prices has gone up quite sufficiently the last couple of years. Not to the least that on all the taxes that are on there. There's so many things that could work way more efficient if we just had unlimited power supply. There's talk of inventions. The one in particular that I'm interested in is the one from Nassim Haramein, which is he's working on the unified field theory, and the unified field theory has two outcomes that are really important for our future. One of them is energy extraction from the vacuum, so 0 point energy basically. But the other one that comes from it is gravity control. So once we get an understanding of how gravity works, that's where we can also manipulate it into giving us energy from the vacuum. But it also gives us the technology which will lead into a warp drive. And so that combined, those two things combined, so free energy and gravity control, those two things will revolutionize the entire world that we're in.
I think that too. I think energy is the main part, but there are many things connected to it. Indeed, gravity, propulsion, dimensions. So you can go in very deep into that. There's so many things to discover which are held back from us, and that's already being used by certain parties. So we have to take that back. Of course, we shouldn't pay so much for energy. we shouldn't.
Yeah. Have you heard about any people who have been working on energy of gravity control on any devices that have anti-gravity properties or anything like that? Have you heard about that?
I've only seen I think a Russian movie. I think it's called Gorbachev, I think, and he made sort of anti-gravity. He used knowledge about I call it Scarabee wings. He found out that Scarabee wings had cones on it, and with that knowledge, he made a device to float up and to travel.
Yeah.
And it was based on his discoveries on the Scarabee wings, or at least that was one of his discoveries.
So basically biomimicry. He's emulating what is already there out there in nature.
Yeah, look at the wings of a bumblebee or from other insects that are too big to fly in normal aerodynamics. How do they float? How do they can levitate?
Yeah.
Now there's more going on then. There's resonance is also a very key part in a lot of inventions.
Yeah.
There's easier extraction of hydrogen from water is with resonance easier than with electrolysis. I think you have also brown gas, and I have all kinds of hydrogen technology out there.
Yeah.
I think in Australia was an inventor. He made a Joe cell, also something with hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
Or what, I guess, I'm not sure what he did, but he could even let water burn.
Right.
Without fuel.
I know I've seen this movie Thrive.
I heard about it.
Few times ago.
Didn't see that, I think. I see so many footage, it's difficult to keep them apart.
There was a couple of things here. This is...
Trombley's experience isn't unique. Almost every time I found an inventor with a problem...
So this is from the movie Thrive, and they go through some examples. I think it might be interesting to go through here.
Began working with Tesla's theories of radiant energy decades ago and has produced an assortment of battery charging devices that generate more energy than it takes to run them. He announced that he was going to start offering them at low cost. Soon after that, he was attacked in his lab and warned not to produce the devices. For his own safety, he had to let go of marketing free energy. These are all devices from labs I personally visited.
Now.
Now, the quality of this footage is obviously poor, and I'm not expecting this to convince you. My point is that being there with these inventors, accompanied by experts, and seeing these new energy devices in operation convinced me that the technology is real. And the implications of that to me are absolutely thrilling. Canadian John Hutchison not only created some free energy batteries, but also used Tesla's theories to counter gravity, to make objects float.
So there's the
This could
anti-gravity.
revolutionize the field of propulsion.
I think that's a bowling ball.
His lab was raided and equipment was taken
Ice
by
cream.
police and government officials in 1978, 1989, and again in 2000. One of the scientists we were going to interview for this film was Dr. Eugene Malov, an engineer from MIT and Harvard, and editor of Infinite Energy magazine, which covers both theoretical and technological developments in the new energy field. Dr. Malov was mysteriously beaten to death in 2004. If these inventors were all hoaxers and charlatans, I wondered, why are they being suppressed so consistently and so brutally? I asked free energy inventor Adam Trombley why he thought this technology was being suppressed and if the UFO phenomenon was related.
We've had major military people at great risk to themselves say, yes, these things are real. Why do you think the military-industrial complex doesn't want that statement to be made? Because you start thinking about what kind of technology is behind that. That's the bottom line. The suppression of UFO phenomena is hand in hand with the suppression of so-called free energy.
The energy
Very true.
is extracted from the fabric of the space around us, which means it cannot be metered. That is a direct threat to the single largest industry in the world, energy. It's goodbye ExxonMobil, goodbye oil, goodbye coal, goodbye linear transmission of electricity through power lines, all that gone. Unfortunately, it's someone's $200 trillion piggy bank.
Well, that's basically it in a nutshell, isn't it?
It says a good there's a good overview.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, yeah, there's something about energy extraction from the vacuum combined with gravity control that brings us then into the area of UFOs, and then that connects
Many
us
more.
to the gatekeepers that will allow either a certain technology or that will not allow it.
Yeah.
And as a single inventor who has an idea or who has discovered a principle or something that can actually be utilized for people to in the future. It might be a scary world out there. It might be scary to be on the front lines and to be someone who says, well, this is the next best thing. This is the thing that will revolutionize everything. Because at one point you want to be on those outskirts, but on the other point you don't want to get shut down.
Now, that's a good thing that you tell that. Of course, I saw Dr. Gray there, and when he first went to go national, the whole transmission got blocked. They got out of the air.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. He so just for the people listening, Dr. Stephen Greer wanted to organize a disclosure event about what he knew about UFOs, and he had arranged nationally that he would get a press conference out with all kinds of information, with military people who would tell their testimonies about what they knew and what they saw, witnesses, and that signal got jammed. That I believe it was late 1990s.
Yeah, something like that.
I think, And the whole signal got jammed, and it was prevented from getting out there. And of course, now it's a completely new world out there. We have the internet. We have direct communication from people to people, and there might be a possibility that we're on the brink of getting this out there.
Now, that's why it's important if we're going to distribute that knowledge or the knowledge about it, then go decentralized. Just go with small groups, go through other channels. Of course, YouTube and other big channels, they censor on this sort of stuff. And that's why decentralized or small groups are very important to get involved or go into to distribute the knowledge.
Yeah, so you're saying YouTube censors. We're on YouTube right now, so
I don't. Of course, this is more mainstream knowledge what we produce here. It's nothing new. We don't put out drawings. Don't tell people how exactly to build it. So I don't think this video will get censored. As soon as you're going to go in more details, then the chance of getting censored or even cancelled, as you can even lose your whole channel. That will be a thing.
Yeah. No, but I'm just curious because you do a lot of research and you do a lot of deep diving into different subjects, and I was just wondering where do you get your information? Where do you go? Do you go to conferences? Do you find like other people who have like similar experience? Is it all underground? Is it all secretive and secretive sharing spaces, or how should I see what the environment is that you?
It's all of them, I think. It's because some groups are very close, so you have to be invited. Some are secretive, some are public. So it's all of them. Read books, read videos. So try in the spare time. When I spare time, try to get more information about it. And luckily, there are a lot of people doing research on all these subjects. So I follow those too. And it's amazing times what's going on, and I hear more and more coming with solutions, and there are solutions that work already, but has to be made more safer. Others are more research or get more measurements or evidence. So, of course, you have to convince the mainstream science. So I think that's the most difficult part, to not the people, but to convince the mainstream science to get to in the normal science area. Because you can show something and gives power, and okay, how do you do that? Okay, then you have to measure it. Then you say, it works that way, or works with that magnetic field, or works with toroidal fields. So you have to have the theoretical part correct, you have to measurements correct, so that you can show and that it works and why it works. And that's a new field.
Yeah, and of course you need, because you need the acceptance of conventional science, but at the same time there's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of scrutiny, there's a lot of scuffing other ideas, and so it really takes an intelligent, open-minded, scientific look mind to recognize something that has actual merit, that has actual value. And I often feel that we live in a world these days where the practice of science isn't as involved anymore as in the appearance of science.
No critical thinking, or not that there are more other ideas involved, or so the real scientists are very few. And they're open to critic. They say, oh, hey, maybe I should try this, or can be maybe correct, let me do that. But also, I think that is a paradigm shift, that I have to relearn that to be a real scientist, and not someone that's told, oh, you have to do it that way, that's the science.
Perhaps that's the most relevant thing of this entire subject, is that we often think that we're at the epitome of Western civilization, and we have all the science. All the science is already in. We know everything. We're already at the top. And meanwhile, we might just not understand how at the beginning we are of the climb that we need to endeavor as a culture to develop ourselves better and more in a natural and healthy way for the future.
I think that too. I think we can do more. Of course, look at this. If you look at the current science or the current technologies, if you look like airplanes, why still have normal engines? Why is not anti-gravity in the last, let's say, 80 years, 100 years? Or other things, normal engines still have fuel engines. We have electric cars, but electric cars are not new. In New York, they had electric cars, I think the 1900s or before that, at that time. They had electric cars.
Do you know how they did the batteries back then?
I think lead acid batteries. And then they charged at normal power stores or at the walls. I saw some photos from New York how they charged electric cars. It was with big clumps or big things to charge the battery. The problem with those cars is that they had short distance drives, so that's why the fuel cars came in.
Well, that problem is still going on. It's just the distance got a little bit longer. And there's iPads in the cars.
The Arrow could drive miles and miles very fast, endlessly. So it can be done.
Yeah, lots of new things on the horizon, and we'll be awaiting here, and we'll be excited to see all of those developments coming. Johan, thank you very much for coming to the studio today. Thank you for sharing all this information, and thanks for being here today. And perhaps if this subject hits with our audience, perhaps we can make more episodes or go a little bit deeper in one or the other subjects and deepen it out a little bit.
Yeah, and then I will prepare more for it with better materials than I had now.
Yeah, that's okay. It was already a very nice and pleasant conversation. So thank you very much for being here. So with that, this has been the end of this episode, everybody. So if you like this content, then don't forget to hit a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel to get more content that is related to the paradigm shift that we're about to enter into. So make sure you're subscribed. Also, if you're on any other kind of platform that we are not on, so maybe Facebook, maybe Instagram, maybe X, formerly known as Twitter, then make sure that you copy that episode and you share it to that platform, and make sure that everybody out there knows that this channel is going on, and that could be of a lot of value for people who have no idea what's going on in the fringes of society, and what might be on the brink of the future. And lastly, but not least, make sure that you go and visit our sponsor. So that's druidsecret.com and organicacbd.com for all your CBD needs and any other kind of illnesses that you might have. Go visit there and use the code Paradigm Shift for a discount. And with that being said, I'll see you next week. Bye bye.